I was looking on TikTok earlier this week, and I saw someone talking about Coach Prime. For y'all don't know who Coach Prime is, that's Deion Sanders. And he was basically saying that what Coach Prime has been doing throughout his career from Jackson State to Colorado is prophetic, basically, right? And Coach Prime is somebody who always talks about Christ. He always talks about Jesus, and he's using this major platform to do it. And there's so many things that you can say about Coach Prime, but he's had such an impressive career, from being an athlete to being a mentor to being a motivational speaker to being a coach. And there's so many things about it. So, Jeremiah, I'm going to kick it to you.
Okay.
Because I think you got a copy of that clip.
Yeah, man. This is the clip that we just talked about, but then also I'm going to play another clip after this with Deion Sanders talking about the Lord Jesus Christ. So here we go.
Greater than him. Getting saved and set free was the starting line for him. God's purpose would prevail, and that's exactly what we're seeing play out before our very eyes. God used all of Deion's past to prepare him for the massive stage he's on right now. It's not a coincidence. I believe what Coach Prime is doing with Colorado football holds prophetic significance for the kingdom-minded leaders that God is raising up in these last days. These are leaders who are not scared to tell the truth, who are bold in their walk, and will put to use all of the gifts that God gave them. They are men and women who will use their platform to stand up for Jesus while the whole world watches. If God could use the game of football to raise up a man to proclaim the name of Jesus to millions of people, what do you think he can do with you?
I've trusted man, I've trusted woman, I've trusted child, I've trusted people, places, and things. And every last one of them have somehow, some way or another let me down. But not Jesus. But not Jesus. Not one day, not one time, not one moment. And I've learned to accept all things. In all things, when I tell you all things, I don't have bad days. All my days are good. All my days of learning are there lessons, or there things that take me from faith to glory, or there ways that teaches me and trains me how to reach and how to teach and how to touch, how to inspire, how to encourage and how to motivate. All these different things. I've been through private and public and have had private success as well as public success. So everything is a learning tool for me, and I'm going to take every last bit of it and try to encourage and motivate others to come to know Jesus. I don't care what anybody would say. I know what works for me. And I want you, just like I go to a restaurant and tell you, hey man, there's some good food down here. I'm going to tell you, hey man, there's some good Jesus over here.
I love that. Coach Prime is infectious. When I listen to his clips and things of that nature, I just go down a rabbit hole of his motivational speeches and things that he says, the way he motivates his team, his young boys, and just so many things about him. That clip was actually a 9-minute clip, but there were so many good things that were said in that. So I want to go to Rick first, because if y'all don't know, Rick is the owner-operator of the My Team, My Voice podcast network, and he actually sat down with Coach Prime when he was covering, the HBCUs when he was back at Jackson State. What type of relationship did you see unfolding in front of you when you had that conversation and you were around him and his atmosphere?
So it was at Swag Media Day right before the beginning of last season, right? Yeah. So when they were shooting that video, Coach Prime, right? It was around that time. And so when I talked to him, I basically wanted to know, towards the end of our interview, we sat down for about 12 minutes or so, and right towards the end of that interview, I asked him about his spiritual bent, right? Like what is it, kind of, basically, what does it mean for him to be able to impact the world like he does from a spiritual aspect? And he talked about, he said, man, look, every morning I wake up and God gives me something, and I pass it on to all my friends and all his mentees, and he has a lot of mentees in the NFL, and they former NFL players. So he has a lot of mentees, and he was like, the real challenge is not, getting a word from God. The real challenge is taking this big, massive, word I get from God and putting a little Twitter space.
Oh, wow.
Like basically, he said there's a character limit. I got to work within the character limit. So he starts taking out his phone, right? He's like, look, let me show you. I'm going to show you from like this morning, because this is what God gave me. I'm going to show you it's going to be good. So then he goes to show me, but he can't figure out how to work his phone.
Oh, Lord.
So then, after a few minutes, I'm like, okay, I got to make sure that we don't go too left with this interview. So let me just start asking him about his mentors. right?
Yeah.
And I know even in coaching, he has mentors, and he goes to those mentors to help him with his coaching.
Wow.
And that's always a big thing for him. And I feel like anybody who's, in the coaching atmosphere or anybody in any space should have mentors, right?
Yeah.
He goes to his coaching mentors. So I'm like, who are your spiritual mentors? And he said, man, actually, his pastor, like his friend, longtime friend, had passed away. And then he mentioned Dewey Smith. Right? So Dewey came in a place where he said he was low and he was down and he needed somebody who can help him pick him back up. Somebody who's with him. And actually, if you look at videos of him in Colorado, even in Jackson State, Dewey's with him. Right? At his very last press conference, so after they lose the Celebration Bowl for the second time, right? Which nobody expected to happen, but it happened. He loses to and they losing now anyway. So but it's North Carolina Central, right? He's there, he's talking to the press, but his pastor's there, like his mentor is there in the room because he knows, like, okay, this is gonna be a tough day. Yeah. Right? And he's talking to the media, he's taking all questions. Normally, it's a few questions. He's taking all the questions and he's like, okay. And then somebody asked him, like, look, what have you been going through? Because his foot, what's going on with the foot. And for him to be a high, probably one of the best athletes of all time.
Yeah.
Right? And for him to have foot issues right now, losing 2 toes, being threatened for amputation of the whole leg and stuff like that. So for that stuff to be happening, he's like, I knew I would need spirituality. I would need somebody who has a spiritual bent, somebody who can be a mentor and help me and guide me through these moments. And he goes to Dewey for that kind of stuff, man.
Wow.
And he had him with him at that last press conference. And so most people, I think the real problem, though, like the biggest problem right now is that some people feel like, some of the Jesus stuff is fake. I've sat with him. I don't think it's fake.
Oh, I would never think it's fake.
Why do they think it's fake?
Because it said he kind of had this, like, this Jesus thing to kind of bring in the black community, right?
Nah, that ain't true.
First of all,
but
being black will bring in the black community in most cases.
Yes.
Go ahead.
But they kind of felt like he kind of had this Jesus complex, almost like the savior complex. Like he was coming in to save HBCUs, and people had an issue with that. Now some people had an issue with what happened with Maria Taylor just the other day when she said it seems like all these people are coming around so they can touch the hem of his garment, right?
Oh,
did y'all hear
no.
that?
No, I didn't hear that.
So that's been, you can look it up. It's on Twitter. Or on X, I'm sorry. It's been posted.
You could have used, she could have used some colorful football imagery instead of that imagery.
Well,
But that's the kind of, so some people said, they kind of feel like he has like the savior complex. And actually when I first looked at the clip that you saw, I thought he was saying, hey, everybody gather around, follow Prophet Prime, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that's why he was going with that. But as I watched the video, I saw that he was basically saying that God is using this man
In the platform situation.
that he has,
Absolutely.
right? To really, really bring up the name of Christ.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like he's the wrong vessel for that. I feel like he's prepared for that. He's the right vessel for that. And it's all real. Like from what I saw, I believe that it's real. And if he always says this. He said this the other day on the show. I'm not perfect, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I am here and I'm being used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's being used well.
I think black entertainers are approaching him, especially black male entertainers, is because they see the inspiration he brings, and then you see his quotes, like his speeches. They're moving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they are.
That's very moving. And he's kind of like, he's still got that swag. So that's another thing that attract men to other men. That's like confident, swagger, and it's almost kind of alpha male-ish, like alpha male extracts alpha male kind of thing. Or even people who just want to be that kind of vibe. So I think that's why he's getting all these celebrities to come, and he's Coach Prime. He's Deion Sanders. One of the greatest cornerbacks of our time. You know what I'm saying? So I think people don't see that. And another thing too is he connects with people very well. Like he connects with a lot of like street dudes like very well. Talking to them and like pouring into them and all this other stuff. So I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's amazing, man. I get inspired every time I hear a speech from him. Like he's like if he's done ever done with coaching and want to do preaching, he can. If he wanted to.
I watched a clip of him saying that they asked him about the Flash and all the kind of stuff he did when he was a ball player. The Must Be the Money music video and stuff like that. And he said, I had to sell you on the flair so you would look beyond the field. He was like, I did great things on the field, but I needed to sell you on the flair so that you could look beyond the field, so that we could have moments like this where you look up and you see who's in front of you. Right? You know what I'm saying?
This isn't new for Deion. right? We all know this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember that primetime era in Atlanta when MC Hammer's at the game,
Yeah.
right? To see Deion.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in hip hop culture love Deion Sanders, right?
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, those people in hip hop culture, they really get a chance to participate.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Lil Wayne's leading out Colorado.
Yeah.
They get a chance to be involved. The Rock's at this.
I saw Offset.
Baby,
everybody's there.
I saw Offset. I saw The Rock. I saw a couple of other folks. Like he just had a lot of celebrities there on the sideline.
So Gilly, y'all remember Gilly? Gilly was almost a coach on the team
for Jackson State.
So I got a video of him in the locker room.
Yeah.
He's in the locker room. Yeah, he's in the locker room right before the game, right before the championship game, Swag championship game, right? It's Gilly with all the players around him, and they doing dances. You know what I mean? They jumping up and down. They doing the whole thing. Every rapper wants to be a part of this because he opens up the space, and while he opens up the space, he's still safe in his testimony, right? He's still opening up the space, and I think somebody put it this way: he's kind of giving space to the young men to be who they are as well. Because you got a full-fledged DJ in the locker room. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's still
playing my theme music. No, I'll say this. I'll say this too. Also, I believe if I had a son playing football, I would tell him to go to Coach Prime because I feel like Coach Prime is not just teaching young boys just to be good football players. He's trying to make them good men.
Yeah.
And he says that. Like, my goal is to make sure after you leave here, you're a good man. You're a good man of principle. You're a good man of character. You're good. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, you would go to, my kid would go to Coach Prime immediately because I think other coaches are just teaching you how to be a good football player. You know what I'm saying?
Using you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's so many gifted people out there that get pimped for their gifts.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. They get money thrown at them, but nobody sees beyond their talents and really cares about the person. So I think that's what's attractive, too.
Yeah, and I feel like he's shown multiple times where he's not willing to use players like that. Like Travis Hunter, for this game right now that they're losing against USC, right?
Oh, no, it's okay. USC.
It's okay.
Last time it was like, what, 21-7?
Yeah, it was 21-7 at the time, but they had the ball. We'll see.
He'll do better when he takes over at Alabama.
But
nah, Nick Saban, anyway, go ahead, brother.
So, what was I saying before we got into that?
Alabama.
Man?
You talking about Travis?
Yeah, so Travis Hunter, right?
Yeah.
Travis Hunter.
This game, Travis Hunter wanted to play. Right, he got hurt in that Colorado State game. Colorado versus Colorado State. He got hurt in that game, and he wanted to play in this game. He actually said, "Look, I'm playing in this game. Right, no questions asked."
Oh wow!
Right, he was like, "I'm not taking no for an answer." And Prime was like, "No, your future in this game is brighter than mine ever was." Right, so I won't, I'm not gonna risk that. Right, so you're not playing in this game, and they told him he's not playing. Now, who tells their best player on offense and defense? Right, because Travis Hunter plays wide receiver and cornerback. Who tells their best weapon, you're not going to play, I'm not going to utilize you in a game that would save his whole momentum. His momentum took a tank like last week against Oregon. Right?
Yeah.
It did. I know because the numbers, look, the numbers when you put
they got out of the
video,
top 25 too.
Bro, and when you put out a Deion video, everybody watches. Everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
But last week, it wasn't so much. Right? After that loss to Oregon. It is what it is.
Wow.
Here's what's going to happen. In the game against USC, you have a chance to basically bring that momentum back. You knock off USC, which they can, right? But if they beat them, the momentum's back.
But
he don't use Travis like that.
But here's the thing I would say about that is that I think, like, when black people see black excellence and Deion Sanders is considered black excellence, they're going to ride with him.
Of course.
It's almost like Obama almost, to a certain extent. It's like, I'm going to ride with this until this is done. You know what I'm saying?
He passes a lot.
You know how many Colorado clothes has been worn? Like, people are buying Colorado product that never been to Colorado.
I never
ain't
do that,
trying to go to Colorado. Like,
they probably hate
black
in
folks,
Colorado.
I saw something so
Where
crazy
you buying
the other
my
day.
stuff?
Y'all, I saw it. Okay, I'm driving in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
I look down, I see a Colorado license plate. I'm like, come on, fam. When the last you ever see that?
Yeah. Last time you saw Colorado Buffalo license plate, like,
not Colorado University Buffalo.
We right.
And the viewerships have been up since then.
Yeah.
Like, college football, I mean, get good views, but it's not getting the views that Prime was getting.
That's fact.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, so I think at the end of the day, man, that's something that he has brought to this thing that people, all types of people are watching him, watching Colorado. They want him to win. You know what I'm saying? They want him to get into that playoff system, and they want him to get a national championship. Maybe not this year, but sooner or later. You know what I'm saying?
It's a little bit bigger than the Tebow effect.
Yeah.
When Tebow came to the NFL. And y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Tebow was taking over in every fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It was the first time that I had a whole bunch of Christians invite me to a football party. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time I ever had that really happened. When they wanted to watch him in the playoffs. Right? So Deion is doing that for the whole black community. Right? But Christians also. Because I feel like if you're really understanding kind of who he is and what he is, his ministry has always been to mentor. Right?
Yeah.
He's been mentoring troubled athletes like Pac-Man Jones, Tyrann Mathieu when he was the Honey Badger going through the situation at LSU. Right? He was always somebody who would come in, mentor these superstar athletes, and really bring them into the full fruition.
Real quick, we had one of our people on the Trackstarz Universe said, "Why he bringing Brittany Renner?" And we had a conversation about that a couple.
Oh, that's a good question.
We came back years ago? Was it like a year ago?
Yeah.
Jackson State. And to me, when I saw the video and I watched it, he was trying to give them game about what life was going to be like as a football player, football star in the NFL, or even college. You know what I'm saying? When somebody attractive, and she's giving game, telling them like, "Hey, I'm only here for y'all money. I'm not here for liking you or nothing like that." And she was giving them up game, and I was like, I respect that. To me, you know what I mean? But for some people, it's
different ways I would have done it. You know what I mean? Like, he controls that stage. It would have just been different ways that I would have done it. So, I mean,
how would you have given them the insight to the game on how you can be really, really used by a woman who not only looks great, but also is somebody who is dead set on getting your income, right? How would you have given them that insight?
That's true.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's her storyline that just is really the main.
She's trying to
issue.
use her powers for good now, though, and not evil. You know?
Is she?
She putting people on game.
She was getting a check.
Well,
she was at 35 too. She just admitted that
dropped that number. She
dropped 35.
Yeah, she's at 35 right now.
She dropped 35?
No, she said she just had sex with 35 men. She said that to Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You can't go out there and brag about it.
And Jackson State at the time had 35
she might
players.
just be stating facts. It doesn't have to be her bragging. She could just be stating facts.
So do you know her story?
No.
So her story is she and I could be wrong about this. I've heard hearsay about their story. I've never read about it. I've just heard people talk about who she is. So her story is that she has gotten with major athletes and taken their money and then left them.
Okay.
Well, she got pregnant by one cat.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I think it kind of just turned her like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't care, blah, blah, blah. And then it just, everybody has a villain story. So,
yeah. So. I just would have,
To me, I was like, if you're going to give me game, if somebody telling you this is what's going to happen to you, I'm telling you the truth and I'm living this is what's going to happen. I respect that. To me, I'm like, he respect me enough to be like, this is what you need to look out. And he said it. He was like, if I'd have known this stuff that I'm giving y'all today,
I would have had more money.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to deal with none of this stuff that I've dealt with.
I feel like him opening up that door to basically say, look, I have to find different ways to not only grab your attention, right? Because with students, even as a professor, when I start off a class, I start off with something shocking. Right? Yeah. That's the way you get attention. Like you need to, from the very beginning, I need to give you a fact, I give you something that's going to grab your attention. It's just a part of the principle. Yeah. So I'm going to grab your attention. You bring Brittany in, boom, attention has been grabbed. Yeah. Right? Now after that, give me the context, give me the stuff that I need after that that's going to basically educate me and give me information I didn't have before. Yeah. I'm paying attention and I ain't going to look away. Right? So, no, not me, but the players. But
understood.
We got you.
But they're not going to look away, right? And so they're paying attention, and in that particular case, you got their full attention, giving the information that they need.
Okay.
Prime's good at that. He's great at being not only a motivator, but also a master teacher, where I have to figure out how to grab your attention, and I got to figure out how to captivate you, educate you, and then motivate you. He talks about all the time.
All right.
Yeah, so I think in that conversation, with the clip and what was being said, it's something to look out for. I think God can use anybody on any platform, and I think that he'll, if he continues to, the interesting thing about it is, and I asked this question on the call, and everybody was like, "Why are you asking that question?" Was this video put out before Colorado University's lost to the Oregon Ducks, right? And then everybody was like, "Yeah, the video was put out before then." I'm like, I wonder if this guy, and y'all, I'm just throwing it out there. I wonder if this guy was thinking, he's on a streak where, like with Tebow, everybody was like, he can't lose. He can't lose. Everybody kept saying that. Like, if you were watching the game, people were just sitting there watching him play, saying, he can't lose. He's going to take us all the way. Broncos fans were going crazy. And so I was just wondering if this guy was thinking, Prime's not going to lose.
He was with the Broncos.
Watch what he's doing. God is going to spectacularly let him win all the way out. Like that. And I just didn't know if that was the case.
Well, to me, I never looked at it that way. I looked at it as if the amazing story about all this is you taking a team that won only one game last year to 3 wins. And now possibly, even if you get some more wins and you imagine if he gets into a bowl game or gets into something like that. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, I think people's expectation is so high of him because he puts that expectation on himself and he put the expectation on the players. But I think at the same time, it's like, what's realistic? Because he knows what he got. Every college football player knows what you got, what your weaknesses and what your strengths. So he knows what's his weakness. And he said it himself. He's like, y'all better catch me now because once I get what I need, it'll be a wrap for y'all.
Yeah.
Prime knew that he wasn't. Oh, go ahead.
No, you good.
Prime knew that he wasn't ready yet to compete at that level. Because you don't have, and here's what he's always had: great players on the outside. So at wide receiver, at cornerback, he got some of the best athletes in the world. Who he don't have is inside, right? So the big men on the inside,
lines.
and that's where he loses all these games.
Yeah.
If you even watch the first game against TCU, they ran all over him.
Yeah.
Why are you running all over him? Because you don't have the best big men in the country, and he hasn't been able to grab those kids yet.
Yeah.
If you give him one more offseason, he'll be able to do that as well. But him winning all the time ain't never been his testimony, right? Because at Jackson State, he didn't win all the time. He won a lot of games, get to the final game, and lose, right?
Oh, wow.
He did it against the second year. He goes undefeated during the season, gets to the final game, and loses. It still doesn't stop the train. It doesn't stop the momentum, right? Now, the question is, can he make it through multiple losses in a row? Because that's always been one major loss at the end, right? But now we're talking about losing to Oregon. If you lose today to USC, if you lose some other games during the season, how much does this train keep rolling? And I believe he has the hold on the nation to make it through that.
He would have been fine if they had given him Georgia's schedule.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Come on. Georgia ain't playing nobody this year.
He still got to play in that.
Why does he keep trying to bring this back to...
He wants it to go back to Alabama. Here's what he wants, and I'm going to break it down for you just really quick, right? He would love, after Nick Saban leaves he thinks that Nick Saban and Deion have a good relationship, right? So after Nick Saban leaves, he's like, yo, Deion, come over to Alabama and make us as hot as Colorado.
He's so used to Jordan in the 90s, now Chicago's in the 2000s. So that's what he's dealing with Alabama.
Yeah, he's used to being at the top, right? Being at the top, being at the Mecca, right? And everybody talking about you. But not nobody's talking about Alabama, right? At all. Everybody's talking about Colorado, right?
Nobody's talking about LSU. We know that, too.
They are not talking about LSU, but you know what? They will be.
Okay, sure.
Women's basketball is coming back.
Well,
fact.
my hope is that
the whole world gonna be talking about LSU.
My hope is that this does have a long-term effect, like with Tim Tebow. When Tim Tebow was wearing Bible scriptures under his eyes, Bible scriptures that he was wearing were being Googled over multiple millions of times in a game because people wanted to know what was 3:16, what was Philippians, and so it's great to see that yes, it is an open platform for people to talk about Jesus and to hear a unique and authentic way to talk about him, and I think Coach Prime is doing a great job of that, so I'm always supporting that.
What that man was talking about is what everybody's kind of come to know now as the Prime effect. Right, it's Coach Prime's ability to bring the whole world attention to wherever he is and whatever he's doing. Yeah, right. And so I've had multiple people, even Steve Watts from the NFL Network. He came on our show one time and he talked about this Deion. He called it the Deion Sanders effect, or the Deion effect at the time, right? But it is the Prime effect where all of a sudden, even when he was at HBCUs, all of a sudden the world's talking about HBCUs, right? Yeah. And so that's just how it was. He came to Jackson State. He came to HBCU school. Boom, everybody's talking about HBCUs. Yeah. All right, cool. Now after that, now he's in Colorado. The whole world's talking about Colorado, but now they can also talk about his faith. And he talks about that all the time. So this man is talking about that Prime effect, but the Prime effect as it relates to Christianity. And I mean, you can't knock it because it's true.
Well, I love it, man. I'm praying for Deion and his walk and his boys to continue to do great things out there. And, we'll see what happens. We got a long season to go.
Yep, long season.
All right, you're in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let go.